Welcome to Vistas Culturales, a Spanish culture video series that accompanies your Prentice Hall Spanish textbook. Vistas Culturales will introduce you to the beauty and diversity of cultures and geographies found in Spain, Spanish-speaking Latin America, and the USA, or Los Estados Unidos, as we say in Spanish. These countries form el Mundo Hispano, or the Hispanic world. The 18 videos in this program have been written by native Spanish speakers from the countries described in them. While the videos could not attempt to show everything about each rich and fascinating country, each segment provides the basics: the location, main geographical features, and population information, as well as the distinguishing features that each author most wants to share about his or her own country. It might be surprising that one of the video segments included in the Vistas Culturales series focuses on the United States. The Latino or Hispanic identified minority is growing more quickly than any other ethnic group in this country, and that population growth has resulted in an ever stronger influence on American arts, sports, and diet. Can you think of other examples of this influence? In the segment on Spain, or España, you will learn about the world-renowned beaches along the country's coastline, as well as the dramatic and beautiful landscapes of the central part of the country. You will learn about the running of the bulls in Pamplona, also known as the Fiesta de San Fermín, and be introduced to one of Spain's mouth-watering culinary traditions, tapas, small plates of varied appetizers served as late afternoon snacks in bars everywhere. Finally, you will learn that what we call the Spanish language is called Castellano in Spain, and that several other languages are spoken in the country as well. Although Spain was the linguistic cradle of the Spanish language, the majority of Spanish speakers are now in the Americas, North, Central, and South America, and the Caribbean. Spanish arrived in our hemisphere with the Spanish conquistadores 500 years ago. Christopher Columbus, or Cristóbal Colón, first arrived in the Caribbean in 1492. The Taínos, the native peoples of these islands, graciously welcomed the Spanish visitors, but the Spaniards responded with a bloody conquest of the islands. By 1496, the Spaniards founded the first colonial city in the Americas, Santo Domingo, today the capital of the Dominican Republic. During the 1500s, Spanish conquistadors founded colonies throughout most of Mexico, Central and South America. While thousands of indigenous people and almost all of their leaders were killed during the Spanish conquest, indigenous cultures throughout the Americas continue to have an important presence. Mexico's culture is permeated by an awareness of and respect for its ancestral civilizations, the Olmecas, Toltecas, Mayas, and Aztecas. Outside of Mexico City, Guatemala City, and the Bolivian capital of La Paz are restored ruins of ancient cities, attesting to the scientific and technical sophistication of the ancient civilizations that flourished in these areas. Indigenous people who continue to speak native languages and follow traditional lifestyles form large minorities in many countries throughout el Mundo Hispano, such as Mexico, Guatemala, and the Andean countries of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Chile. In Bolivia, indigenous people actually form a majority of the population. The new president, Evo Morales, is indigenous, and more than 100 indigenous languages are spoken in the country. The interaction between indigenous culture and Spanish Catholicism, and in some parts of the Americas, African cultures as well, has resulted in many unique syncretistic or fused cultural traditions in Latin American countries, including the way national fiestas, or holidays, are celebrated, as well as delicious cuisines that blend old and new world culinary traditions. Much of what we consider staples of our diet was unknown to Europeans before the Spaniards arrived. Potatoes, tomatoes, corn, and chili peppers. The rich and varied geography of the Americas is definitely a draw for tourists from other areas of the world. From chains of high mountains, to active and dormant volcanoes, to vast plains and dense green rainforests, to pristine beaches, and beaches that offer aquatic sport opportunities, there is an incredible diversity of landscapes. In addition to showing the dramatic and beautiful geography, the videos provide virtual visits to the capitals of many of the countries in El Mundo Hispano. La Ciudad de México, Panamá, Bogotá, Caracas, Lima, Montevideo, and Santiago, for example, are vibrant metropolises whose urban landscapes feature both 20th century modern architecture and early 16th century colonial structures. Another aspect of these videos is the variety of regional accents in the Spanish used to narrate them. As you are learning a language spoken in a great number of different countries, it is important to become acquainted with the different variations in pronunciation. For example, the Spaniard who narrates the segment on Spain, or España, uses the ceseo. For example, he would say gracias instead of gracias, the way Latin American Spanish speakers would say it. Indigenous languages have also influenced Spanish vocabulary in the Americas. The Chilean video specifically addresses the variations in that country's vocabulary thanks to this influence. Throughout your studies of Spanish, especially when you study words of different foods, you will become aware of many other examples of this regional diversity. The video segments are all narrated entirely in Spanish. The level of grammatical complexity in these narrations is relatively simple, however. And the narrators generally speak slowly and clearly, using cognates, or words with the same root as an English word meaning the same thing. You probably will not understand every word, but try to continue following the speaker even if you miss a word or even a whole sentence. Also, use the images themselves as clues to help understand the language. The language you have chosen to study is more relevant and important with every passing day. Today, more than 350 million people speak Spanish in the 20 countries where it is the official language. And more than 20 million of us in the US and Canada speak it as well. So, as we say in Spanish, felicidades, or congratulations on your decision to study Spanish. We hope that Vistas Culturales provides you with an enjoyable and enticing virtual voyage throughout El Mundo Hispano. Good luck and have a good trip, or in your new language, buena suerte y buen viaje.